The cafe smelled like roasted coffee beans and warm pastries, the kind of place where time felt slower. August Lawson sat in her usual corner booth, tapping her fingers nervously on the table as she waited. She was early. She was always early, but today felt different. She couldn't explain why. The door chimed as someone walked in, and when August looked up, she saw Emily Hart brushing raindrops off her jacket, her golden hair slightly damp from the rain. Emily spotted her and smiled, that familiar, wide grin that always seemed to light up a room. August felt her chest tighten as Emily made her way over to the table. She tried to push it down, that strange flutter she always felt when Emily smiled like that. This was Emily, her best friend since 8th grade, the girl who knew everything about her, from her favorite song to her worst fears. "Sorry I'm late," Emily said as she slid into the seat across from her. She set down her bag and sighed. "The line at the coffee shop near my place was insane." August raised an eyebrow. "You're telling me you went to a different coffee shop before coming to meet me at a coffee shop?" Emily laughed, and August felt her heart skip. "Okay, fair point. But this place doesn't do that vanilla oat milk latte I like." She paused, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Anyway, thanks for waiting." August shrugged. "You know I'd wait." Emily's smile faltered for just a second, so brief that anyone else would have missed it. But August didn't. She knew every expression Emily had, every shift in her mood. "So," August said, trying to ease the silence. "What's up? You seemed serious in your text." Emily's fingers wrapped tightly around her coffee cup. She didn't look up right away, and August felt a prickle of concern. Emily was never this quiet. "Yeah," Emily finally said, exhaling slowly. "There's something I need to tell you." August leaned in, her worry deepening. What's going on?" Emily lifted her gaze, and August was startled by the vulnerability in her eyes. It was like Emily had peeled back every wall she'd ever put up, leaving herself bare. "I've been thinking about this for a long time," Emily began, her voice soft but steady. "And I need to say it before I lose my nerve." August's heart raced, the flutter in her chest growing stronger. She didn't know what Emily was about to say, but something told her it was important. Emily took a deep breath. "I'm in love with you, August." The words hung in the air, soft but heavy, like raindrops hitting the window. August froze, unsure if she'd heard right. "What?" she whispered, her pulse roaring in her ears. Emily's eyes didn't waver. "I'm in love with you. I have been for a long time." August stared at her, trying to process the impossible. She wanted to say something, anything, but her mind was blank. This was Emily, her best friend, her other half, and she was in love with her? The rain outside blurred the world into streaks of gray, but inside the cafe, everything was sharp and clear. Emily was looking at her like she was waiting for her whole world to fall apart. "I know this changes everything," Emily said, her voice trembling slightly. "But I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. I just needed you to know." August's chest felt tight, her emotions swirling like the storm outside. She didn't know what this meant for them, for their friendship, for everything they'd built together. But she knew one thing for sure: this moment was going to change everything. If you enjoyed this content and want to support the channel in a special way, try clicking the thanks button below. It's the one with the heart and $sign icon. With super thanks, you can make a direct contribution to the channel, which helps me keep creating awesome videos for you. Now, let's continue the story. The world outside the cafe continued to blur under the drizzle, but inside, August felt like everything had snapped into hyperfocus. Every breath she took felt too loud. Every heartbeat felt like an echo. Across the table, Emily was still waiting, silent, tense, vulnerable. August could see it in the way her fingers fidgeted with the corner of her napkin, something Emily only did when she was nervous. I don't even know what to say," August whispered, her voice barely audible. Emily's eyes softened, but there was a flicker of pain there, too. "You don't have to say anything. I know it's a lot." "A lot?" That didn't even begin to cover it. August felt like the foundation of her entire world had been shaken, but when she looked at Emily, all she could see was the truth behind those words, the years of quiet glances, of lingering touches that had seemed so normal at the time. All the moments that had passed between them now felt charged with a meaning she hadn't noticed until now. How long? August finally asked, needing to know. Emily exhaled slowly. Since high school, probably. Maybe even longer. But I didn't really figure it out until college. She let out a shaky laugh. I tried so hard to pretend it wasn't there, August. I dated other people. I told myself it was just friendship. But no matter what I did, you were always the one. August's heart twisted, equal parts awe and terror flooding through her. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Emily shrugged, her smile bitter and sad. Because I was scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of ruining this. She paused, swallowing hard. But then I realized pretending wasn't fair to either of us. August sat back, her mind swirling with memories. The time Emily had skipped her own birthday party to drive across the city and bring August soup when she had the flu, the countless nights they'd fallen asleep on the couch after binging terrible TV shows. Had all of that meant something more to Emily? Had August been blind, or had she just never let herself wonder? The silence stretched between them, taut and fragile. Emily's hand trembled as she reached for her coffee, taking a small sip to hide the way her lips quivered. August's voice was quieter when she spoke again. What if I don't know how I feel? Emily nodded slowly, her expression unreadable. That's okay. I didn't tell you because I wanted some perfect answer. I told you because I couldn't carry it alone anymore. She set her cup down, her gaze steady. No matter what happens, I'm not going anywhere. You're still my best friend. August's heart ached at the rawness in Emily's voice. She could see it so clearly. Emily was bracing for rejection, but still choosing honesty over fear. I don't want to lose you either, August whispered. Emily's smile returned, softer now but real. You won't. A small weight lifted from August's chest, but the new, uncertain feeling still clung to the edges of her mind. What did it mean to know that her best friend had been in love with her all this time? And what did it mean for her to feel this, something stirring inside her now? Let's go for a walk, August said suddenly, standing before she lost her nerve. Emily blinked, surprised. In the rain? August smiled, grabbing her coat. Since when do you care about getting wet? Emily laughed and stood, grabbing her jacket. Fair point. They stepped outside, the cool rain misting against their faces as they walked down the street. August shoved her hands into her pockets, her thoughts still racing. She didn't know where they were going. Maybe that didn't matter. After a few minutes of quiet, Emily broke the silence. Are you okay? August nodded, though her mind still felt like a tangled web. Yeah, she paused, turning toward Emily. The street lamp above them cast a warm glow, making the raindrops shimmer. Why me? Emily looked at her like the answer was the simplest thing in the world. Because you're you? She took a step closer, her voice soft but certain. You make me feel like I can be completely myself. Like, I'm enough. August's throat tightened. How many times had she leaned on Emily for exactly that same reason? How many times had she thought to herself that Emily was the one constant in her life, the one person who made everything feel right? Emily, August hesitated, then shook her head. I don't know if I've ever thought about us like this. Emily smiled sadly. I know. I never expected you to. They stood there in the rain, surrounded by the quiet hum of the city. For the first time, August let herself look at Emily, really look at her. The girl she'd shared every part of her life with. The girl who'd loved her long before she even knew it. And suddenly, it didn't feel as scary as it had before. August took a deep breath, the air cold in her lungs. I'm not sure where this goes, she said carefully. But I don't want to lose you. And maybe we can figure this out. Together. Emily's eyes widened, a spark of hope flickering in the depths of her gaze. Really? August's lips curved into a soft smile.
Yeah, really?
A laugh bubbled up in Emily's throat, a sound so full of joy it made August's heart swell. Without thinking, Emily reached out and pulled August into a tight hug, her arms warm and familiar despite the rain. August felt herself relax into the embrace, the last of her fear melting away. When they finally pulled apart, Emily was beaming, her cheeks flushed. "We should probably get out of the rain," she said, brushing wet hair out of her face. August chuckled. Agreed. They walked side by side back toward the apartment, their steps slow and unhurried. The rain had softened to a drizzle, and the sky above them was clearing, faint stars peeking through the gray. As they reached August's building, Emily paused on the steps. "Thanks for not running away," she said, her voice playful but sincere. August smiled, opening the door and gesturing for Emily to come inside. "I wasn't going to run." Emily stepped through the door, shaking water from her jacket.
Good.
"Because I'm terrible at chasing people." August laughed, the sound filling the quiet hallway. She didn't know where this new path would lead them, but for the first time, that uncertainty didn't feel like a burden. It felt like a beginning. And as Emily settled onto the couch beside her, their shoulders brushing as they searched for a movie, August realized something else. She wasn't scared anymore. Because no matter what happened next, they had each other.
And that was enough.
The opening credits of the movie flickered on the screen, casting a soft glow across the room. August had chosen some predictable rom-com from the early 2000s, comfort food for the heart, as Emily used to call it. But even as the familiar scenes played out, August found it impossible to focus. Emily was sitting beside her, wrapped in the blanket they always shared during movie nights, her bare feet tucked under her legs. It was the same setup they'd done 100 times before, but everything felt different now. August was hyper-aware of the inches of space between them, the quiet sound of Emily's breathing, the warmth radiating from her side. At one point, Emily laughed at a scene on the screen, that soft, genuine sound that always made August's heart feel lighter. When Emily turned her head to look at her, August realized she'd been staring. Emily's smile faltered slightly. "You okay?" August blinked, trying to find her voice.
Yeah.
"I'm just thinking." Emily's eyes softened. "You don't have to overthink this, you know?" August exhaled slowly. "That's like asking the rain not to fall." Emily laughed gently, shifting so she was facing August more fully. "Fair point." There was a pause, her gaze searching August's face. "What are you afraid of?" August swallowed hard, the question catching her off guard. "I guess. I'm afraid of messing this up. Of hurting you. Of losing you." Emily's expression grew serious, but there was no hesitation in her voice when she responded. "You won't lose me, August. I promise." The room felt impossibly quiet. August's heart was pounding so hard she was sure Emily could hear it. She shifted slightly, her hand brushing against Emily's. Emily didn't move away. Instead, her fingers turned upward, resting gently against August's palm. August felt the warmth of Emily's touch and the slow realization that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't as terrifying as she'd thought. She wasn't sure when she'd started leaning in, only that their faces were suddenly close enough that she could see the tiny flecks of gold in Emily's hazel eyes. "Can I kiss you?" August whispered before she could lose her nerve. Emily's breath caught, and her eyes widened slightly. But then she nodded, her lips curving into the faintest smile.
Yeah.
"You can." August's heart felt like it might burst. Slowly, she closed the remaining distance, their noses brushing before her lips finally met Emily's. The kiss was soft, tentative, but it felt like coming home after a long journey. Emily's hand slid up to cup August's cheek, pulling her in just a little closer. The warmth of the moment wrapped around them like a cocoon, shutting out everything else, the movie, the rain, the doubts. It was just them. When they finally pulled apart, August opened her eyes to find Emily watching her, breathless and smiling. "That wasn't so scary," August said, a little dazed. Emily laughed, her fingers still lingering against August's cheek. "Speak for yourself." "I'm pretty sure my heart just stopped." August felt a giddy, weightless laugh bubble up in her chest. For the first time all day, the tension that had gripped her was gone. She leaned back into the couch, her hand still entwined with Emily's. The movie continued playing, but neither of them paid much attention. Instead, they talked about everything and nothing until the credits rolled and the screen faded to black. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the windows, painting the room in soft gold. August blinked awake, the warmth of the sun brushing her skin. She stretched, groggy but content, before realizing she wasn't alone. Emily was still curled up on the couch beside her, fast asleep, her head resting lightly on August's shoulder. Her hair was a mess of soft curls, and her face was peaceful in a way that made August's chest ache. August stayed still, not wanting to disturb her. For a few moments, she let herself soak it all in, the calm, the quiet, the soft sound of Emily's breathing. When Emily stirred, her eyes fluttering open, she blinked up at August and smiled sleepily. "Morning, morning," August whispered. Emily shifted slightly, but she didn't move away. "Did I fall asleep on you?" August smiled.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind. Emily's cheeks flushed, and she ducked her head, still smiling. Good. They stayed there for a little while longer, wrapped in the quiet comfort of the morning. It wasn't until Emily's stomach let out a loud grumble that they both burst into laughter. "Okay, I think that's my cue," Emily said, sitting up and stretching. "What do you say to pancakes?" August raised an eyebrow. "You're offering to cook?" Emily stood, grinning as she headed toward the kitchen. "What can I say? I'm a woman of many talents." August followed her, watching as Emily rummaged through the cabinets with a familiar ease. It felt like they'd done this 100 times before, making breakfast together, sharing lazy mornings, but everything had shifted in the best way. As Emily mixed the batter, she looked over her shoulder and smiled at August. "You're staring again." August shrugged, unashamed. "Can you blame me?" Emily laughed, her eyes sparkling. "Well, I'm not complaining." They worked side by side, flipping pancakes and sneaking bites of fruit. The smell of warm syrup and fresh coffee filled the air, and August couldn't remember the last time she'd felt this light, this happy. When they finally sat down to eat, Emily reached across the table and squeezed August's hand. "You know," she said softly, "this is everything I wanted. Just being here with you." August felt her throat tighten. She squeezed Emily's hand back, her heart full. "Me too." The rest of the morning passed in a blur of laughter and easy conversation. As they cleaned up the dishes, August caught Emily's hand and pulled her close, wrapping her arms around her waist. Emily looked up, surprised but delighted. "What's this for?" August pressed a soft kiss to Emily's temple. "Just because." Emily's smile was the kind of radiant that could light up the whole world. Later that afternoon, as they sat on the couch sharing a bowl of popcorn, August felt a quiet certainty settle over her. For so long, she'd been afraid of change, afraid that stepping into something new would mean losing what she had. But now she realized that she wasn't losing anything. She was gaining something. Emily leaned her head against August's shoulder, her voice soft as she spoke.
Hey.
"Yes. I'm really glad I told you," Emily said. August kissed the top of her head and smiled. "Me too." Whatever came next, they'd figure it out together. For the first time, Auguste wasn't scared of what was ahead. She was ready. The week that followed felt like stepping into a dream, one where reality was softer, sweeter, and filled with quiet, unexpected moments of joy. August couldn't help but notice how things with Emily felt both familiar and brand new all at once. Their friendship was still there, strong as ever, but now it was laced with stolen glances, soft touches, and the unspoken promise of something deeper. They didn't rush anything. It was like they both knew that what they had was worth savoring. One evening, August found herself standing in front of her mirror, adjusting the collar of her jacket and trying not to feel ridiculous. Emily had texted earlier, suggesting they go out for dinner, an actual date, she'd said, followed by an unnecessary number of heart emojis. A knock on the door pulled August from her thoughts. She opened it to find Emily standing there, looking effortlessly beautiful in a simple black dress and a jean jacket. Her hair was loose, framing her face in soft waves. "Wow," Emily said, her eyes sweeping over August. "You look amazing." August felt her cheeks heat up. You're one to talk. Emily laughed, reaching for August's hand. Ready? August nodded, her nerves easing as Emily's fingers entwined with hers. They ended up at a cozy little Italian place downtown, the kind with dim lighting, checkered tablecloths, and the scent of fresh bread hanging in the air. The hostess led them to a small table near the window, and August couldn't help but notice how Emily's face lit up in the soft glow of the candles. This feels kind of surreal, August admitted as they sat down. Emily tilted her head, a playful smile tugging at her lips. In a good way or a bad way? In a good way, August replied quickly. It's just, we've done this 100 times before, but now it feels different. Emily nodded, her expression softening. Because it is different. Their drinks arrived, sparkling lemonade for Emily, iced tea for August, and they spent the next hour talking and laughing like they always did. The conversation flowed easily, touching on everything from work dramas to their dream travel destinations. At one point, Emily reached across the table and brushed her fingers against August's. The touch was brief, but electric. August felt a flutter in her chest as Emily's eyes locked with hers. I've wanted this for so long, Emily said, her voice quiet but steady. To just be with you? August's breath caught. She felt the same, a deep, overwhelming sense of rightness that settled in her bones. Me too, she whispered. They lingered at the restaurant long after their plates had been cleared, reluctant to let the night end. When they finally stepped back out onto the street, the city lights glimmered like stars overhead. As they walked back to August's apartment, Emily slipped her arm through August's, leaning into her. You know, Emily said, her voice light but teasing, if someone had told me a year ago that this would happen, I wouldn't have believed them. August laughed. Yeah, me neither. They reached the front steps, and for a moment, they just stood there, neither of them wanting to say goodbye. Emily shifted closer, her eyes soft and searching. Can I stay? August's heart thudded in her chest, but she smiled, warmth spreading through her. You don't even have to ask. Emily's smile was radiant as they headed inside. The next morning, sunlight spilled across the bed in lazy streaks. August blinked awake, her senses slowly coming back to her. The soft scent of lavender lingered in the air. Emily's shampoo. Emily was still asleep beside her, curled into the blankets, her face half hidden against the pillow. August propped herself up on one elbow, watching her with a quiet, almost reverent awe. A soft, sleepy mumble broke the silence. Emily's eyes fluttered open, and she smiled when she saw August watching her. Morning, Emily murmured, her voice still thick with sleep. August felt a grin spread across her face. Morning. Emily reached out, brushing her fingers gently against August's cheek. You're staring again. August chuckled. I can't help it. Emily's laughter was soft, and she shifted closer, their foreheads almost touching. This feels too good to be true. It's real, August whispered. Emily's eyes softened, and she leaned in, their lips meeting in a slow, tender kiss. Later that afternoon, they found themselves back on the couch, surrounded by half-empty coffee cups and an unfinished puzzle they'd started for no reason other than boredom. The TV played softly in the background, but neither of them paid attention. August reached for another puzzle piece and glanced at Emily, who was lying back with her arms stretched over her head. I don't know if I've said this enough, August began, her voice thoughtful, but you've made me so happy. Emily sat up slightly, a curious smile on her face. Yes? August nodded. Yeah. She set the puzzle piece down and reached for Emily's hand. I was scared, scared of ruining us. But you make everything feel easier. Emily's eyes shimmered with emotion. You make it easy for me, too. August exhaled slowly, feeling the last of her fears slip away. She knew that life wouldn't always be perfect. There would be arguments, long days, and moments of doubt. But this felt like something they could build a future on. Emily squeezed her hand and leaned in, their foreheads touching. No matter what, Emily whispered, we've got this. August smiled, her heart full.
Yeah.
We do. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange. As the day turned into evening, they stayed curled up together, content to just be. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, August felt ready for it. Whatever came their way, they would face it side by side, with love, laughter, and the kind of bond that only best friends could build. And as Emily's laughter filled the room once more, August knew one thing for sure. She had found something rare and beautiful, something worth holding on to for the rest of her life.